Yes, hello. I'm James Rowland. Today it's WNR590. It's NXT update. I'm not alone. Have a pleasure to be joined by our resident NXT expert, New Japan demigod, and at this rate, by the end of the year, House of Torture leader is Monty. How's it going, man?
Yeah, you got that right. It'll be any association. That's about to be the quickest nickname that come and go ever. I might just get you to stop talking about it altogether at this rate. But anyway, yeah, I'm excited to be back. Another NXT breakdown. So we will focus on the first part of my nickname. We'll worry about that other part when I get my mental health together about Japanese wrestling. But yeah, man, excited to be back. Catching up a little bit on NXT. We gotta get out of 2025.
Yeah.
So, I'm excited to do that. Make some progress, get closer to where we are in present times. But yeah, man, it's been fun. It's always fun catching up with NXT, so I know this will be a good time.
Yeah, and like you said, we are catching up. We've hit it hard at the start of the year. I promise you a break soon, Monty. Okay, but at this moment in time, we're going to have five NXTs, including New Year's Evil plus TNA on AMC. And just for the record, we're going to cover the 23rd of December to 20th of January. So yes, we are going to get up to date. We're going to confuse ourselves. It's going to be a couple of weeks away, and then obviously with the next update, but it's going to be fine, you know. But before that, a couple of things. I was flicking through the Fire Stick. I mean, I don't know what it is in America, but I assume Fire Sticks are a thing, just to show my ignorance.
They are.
And there was a TV channel called Wrestling Legends TV. It's like a 24-hour thing, and I thought, what was this? And it has all the A&E documentaries on WWE. So, like the Hardy Boys or Lita and Trish, I saw a bit of, and obviously, DX and the NWO. And I just thought, wow. So I just want to let people know it's out there because I've been moaning, Monty, for God knows how long, that because of the network, I don't get the documentaries, you know?
Yeah, I've seen a couple of them are uploaded every now and then on YouTube too for free. I know like the Austin one and a couple of the other ones from A&E, which they're pretty well done. I mean, even for people like me, I think they do a good. People like me who like watch all types of whether it's WWE produced docs or like whatever it is. I watch almost everything you can watch on certain like it's certain people in the Attitude Era that's like you can't even give me trivia on them at this point because I've heard their story told in different ways 3,000 times. I think it was pretty cool to hear Undertaker to kind of get more of like a context from like the actual life of the character, the person behind Undertaker, because he for a long time didn't really expose a lot, so that one was always eye opening. But yeah, man, those the A&E documentaries. From what I don't know what other people think, but from what I've seen, they're done pretty well. So yeah, I definitely recommend people seek them out. Or and if like you said, it's a 24-hour channel that's just streaming them nonstop. That's pretty cool too. Because like you said, we gotta figure out ways. I'm one of these people that I've been on the kick with video games and music. That's why I started buying, not collecting, because I listen to my records, but buying records and vinyls because like man, we're so digital now, man, and I'm in a preservation. I really want to preserve as much as I possibly can. Like I always say, I was a DVD kid. A lot of the background I have into a lot of the wrestlers I grew up watching comes from those old school DVDs and stuff that they used to sell. So I'm with you, man. Even though it's not the net. It was the network has been gone, and we went to Peacock. Even with Peacock, it just wasn't a priority to even. It wasn't even the fact that the library is gone. Because now I don't know exactly where the library is when it comes to America. I think some of it is on Netflix now. Some of it may still be on Peacock. Like we just got so much going on. Everything is digital. We don't own anything. We're basically renting everything. So yes, find ways to seek out this content. And like I said, if you can find a way to get copies of it yourself. I know it's hard as far as like this WWE docs, like we're saying. At this point, I don't think there's a way to get physical copies. But if you can find a way to get your hands on something and own it and keep it from when it comes to any of your hobbies, games, music, whatever it is, I suggest we all try to find a way to get it and like have it in our hands because we don't own anything, even when it comes to paying a monthly subscription to watch at will at this point. That's where we are currently in a lot of media aspects, and like, yeah, I'm with you, man. Like with the network pretty much being dead and just not having, they're not even doing these things at the same rate. Or I mean, hell, if they let's say they want to do a Rhea Ripley doc, or what they gonna make a Netflix special for it or something like.
Mm.
Like at this point, what do we have when it comes to stuff like that, even from the current roster? So yeah, I'm with you. From what, like I said, from what I understand, those are pretty good. So I definitely say check it out and find it. But I have to look it up now because I didn't know. I'm pretty sure because it's a channel that I know stream a whole bunch of old TNA. Like I just be looking at like old Impact stuff from '05 or back when they really was just starting out. They be showing old pay per views, so that's always cool. But it's nice to know that they got these docs, just available because like you said, at this point, you're grasping at straws when you're just trying to find extra content like that. It's just nowhere to be found.
Yeah, and like I said, the WCW stuff is being put up on YouTube, minus
Yeah,
Chris
with the
Benoit,
vault.
obviously.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's the Vault stuff as well. But again, like I said, NXT, all the 205 stuff, the Cruiserweight Classic, Mae Young has not got platform for that. And again, as you mentioned with like the physical copy and stuff, talk about this channel, it might not be there next month. Do you know what I mean? I don't know
right.
what's funding behind it, or whatever it is. So yeah, we try and make the most of it as we can. The other thing, do you remember Wild Boar? Right, obviously from NXT UK.
Yeah,
Well, do,
yeah.
do you remember his partner, Primate? Because I didn't.
The
But,
name sounds familiar.
yeah.
I can't put a face to it or a person to it, but that I do remember Primate and Wild Boar from my
Hmm.
small town watching. Mhm.
Yeah, it looks like a war raider, not to be racist. I don't want to be racist towards, bald men with beards or whatever it is. But he was on Gladiators, which is doing incredibly well in the UK. He was
Right.
on there and he was talking about, I'm an ex WWE wrestler. So obviously I looked it up and I was like, oh, it's just Primate, right? Uh, but still, he did
Oh,
lose
it's
this.
certain.
Yeah, he did lose to a school teacher. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but they were bigging him up to the WWE. So, but
You
it's good
sure
that
you're not
people,
saying it's a bad?
well, it's good that people can have a career outside of WWE. Do you know what I mean? NXT UK wasn't wasted. They're still showing up in Gladiators.
Wow. Well, uh, I will say this: it is cool from from the aspect of just seeing a wrestler. Like I think I love putting over how underrated athlete of an athlete wrestlers are. So I do think it's kind of cool that he's on that platform, and even though like you say he lost, but
He
maybe
lost in first
obviously.
first round. Yeah, no, it's fine. But
Okay, the more context, the less impressive this sounds.
he
But
didn't win a game, but he tried. Do you know what
he
I mean?
tried, right?
I'm
He
I'm
was
sure.
there. He was allowed to give his best effort, and that's cool. And obviously, this is not your average school teacher because I know school teachers. They usually are not gladiator worthy. So, yeah,
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm
that's
saying. I
that's a
love the.
nice tidbit though. It's a nice little tidbit information. Shout
Well,
out
that's
to
what I like the
Primate.
updates for. Yeah, exactly. You thought you were showing up from NXT, and I was like, here we go. I've got a couple of little bits. I've been
Is
busy.
he still wrestling, or is this just? I
Oh,
assume
he
he's
did.
still independent wrestling, maybe. I
Yeah,
know
the shots they showed had tens of people there, so it looked like
gotcha.
yeah, yeah. Anyway, on to the NXT update, and we start with NXT 23rd of December, and it's Lola Vice versus Lady Dame to get us off with the action. Paxley cut her way through the wall below the crow's nest with a chainsaw. I mean, first off, how much damage has that wall had done to it? Do you know what I mean? Apart from maybe the barricades. But anyway, we saw her chasing Spears out with a chainsaw. Vice took advantage of the situation. Now Dame with a spinning back fist to get the win. Clarny Jordan attacked Vice after a win and took her out with a series of kicks. Before the break, Thea Howard was showing thanking Jordan Grace for standing up to her last week. When the show returned, the new North American champion was out to address the crowd. She spoke about how she's gotten so many opportunities that all led to this moment. She even gave Andre Chase a little shout out. Dixie she was interrupted by Blake Monroe. It looked like she hadn't slept in a week. The former champion cried as she said this was a mistake. She ended up decking Hale to kickstart a brawl. Security broke up, but the rematch for New Year's Evil is set. I mean, Monty, all I can think from these openings, bitches be crazy. I don't know if I'm allowed to
I
say
don't think
that.
I can put it. I don't think I can put it much better than that. That's a great little. That's a great summary of that. Uh, yeah, man, I can't phrase it any better. I mean, again, we're obviously seeing this side of Blake because I do think we obviously know where this could go when it comes to her. And I gotta give them kudos for trying to make something out of something, something out of we know, not something that we know wasn't, a part of the plan, And so I do think maybe it's interesting to see just how far they're willing to go in this regard. But yeah, man, I think this fits. I mean, it's like you said, not only is bitches be crazy, but you know, it really fits the scenario and the situation because you can make the argument: do you really blame Blake Monroe for this? But at the same time, yeah, man, there's no doubt in my mind. Like she's a little loony, and I like crazy chicks. I always have. So that's my problem. But but yeah, man, I think this fits, and I don't know. I will say this: like I'm happy for Thea Hale being in this position. Like even though I think we all know that this probably again wasn't a part of the plan, but yeah, man, like watching this stuff and just watching it all take this up. It's funny that you brought up NXT UK. This storyline so far kind of really reminds me of NXT UK.
Yeah.
And because I do think Blake got a little bit of Nina Samuels to her. And
Yeah.
like she's in her own world. It's different. We may not view it, but like she is definitely in her own world of delusion. But it fits and it works in this situation, and I can't wait to see what happens next because again, I think they stumbled into a pretty interesting scenario. More so than like let's say she just keeps the title and moves on to the next babyface. Something we've seen 1,000 times. So they kind of again I don't we know how we got here, but I'm not necessarily mad that we're
Yeah, and again, the other thing I like about it as well, with the
here.
opening couple of segments, with obviously Tatum, with the chainsaw, the feud
Yeah,
with with Izzy Dame, you got Kalani Jordan, Lola Vice, and obviously Blake Monroe and Thea Howe at the moment. The women's division is still the rock of NXT. It's ever
a hundred
dependent,
percent.
you know.
100%. Like, and I agree. And like, yeah, I think when you put it all together, it makes for like, it showcases not only why that we have a mid card championship, but like we still are here where we are to where we keep things focused, like in many different ways. Like, yeah, we talking about the mid card women's title, but we also got like storylines that's due to just relationships and we also got other things like everything is weaved together perfectly. And I think honestly, like I said, no, it's still like that. As great as I think AEW is starting to do, and I think AEW might be the closest thing, and WWE when they want to, but they still, in my opinion, obviously have trouble uh, focusing on more than a couple of women's things at a time. It is nothing else on television that, in my opinion, can give you multiple mid card or like not even title related women's feuds along with drama surrounding the main title. Like that is NXT's special superpower if they have one.
Yeah, without a doubt. Completely agree with you. Ethan Page was shown to the Miles Bourne. He needs to figure out his next move because he can't handle the pressure in NXT. Eli Knight from Evolve made his NXT debut in a speed tournament match against Tavian Heights. Heights got the win, and I hate learning new names, but I was surprised by the Knight name because, again, not to shit all over LA Knight, he's had
They don't
enough.
care about him, man.
Is there any bigger sign? This is a young guy. Put Knight on him because the other fella won't be around for long. Do you know what I
Right.
mean?
It's like
Like,
they don't have any faith in. I've never seen someone so over get spit on as much as he has, and I don't know if it's an age thing I don't know what it. It's the same. You can't. To me, you can't even make the argument that it is one because he's been late 30s, early 40s the whole time when he was in NXT. Initially, like we knew that he didn't have like 50. He's not Javon Evans where he got like a next decade plus where he's probably going to be in the prime of his career. Like you already know that, so you can't necessarily just. I've seen people try to make that argument. Like everybody who's mad at LA Knight don't get this, don't get that. Yeah, you know that his age is a concern. I'm just like, it was always a concern. He hasn't. He when he signed that he was past 35. We know that. So what are we talking about? Like again, I've never seen, like you say, somebody. I've never seen someone get over like he has. And then, like I said, just the slightest little disrespect in every way. And again, I know when it's a different. Maybe you want to look at it like this and say, "Oh, it's a different era of the business. It don't mean anything." But no, I don't care what era. It is never, in my opinion, ideal to have a new guy come in with basically your name.
No.
Like literally just basically LA
E
either like it's
like
Eli
night.
LA. It is literally like, come on, man. Yeah, I don't get it. And I also say this: they gotta stop doing this to me. Don't ever do this again. Never debut anybody in a speed match. And the only reason why I say that is because like, what the hell? So you just want me to see the person? That's it? Because you don't want me to get to know if he can do anything whatsoever. It's a three
Yeah,
minute
I
match.
really enjoyed those 2 minutes. That was yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Oh man, I really got to know a lot about Eli in that 2 minutes and 1 second match. Woo. Yeah.
The
Don't ever do that.
the only thing funnier if Eli Knight would have debuted if LA Knight was still called Max Dupree, then that would have been the icing on the
Yeah.
cake, obviously. But like you said, it's hard to imagine. So maybe we're gonna get Dave Punk coming in the next update. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who
Oh
knows?
yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
don't
Don't
know.
forget about I was trying to think of a random
I was
Scottish
just like,
sounding first name. So I can say like Scott McIntyre or something.
yeah, it'd be fine. It'd be fine. Anyway, Obafemi and Leon Slater are set to fight on New Year's Evil for the NXT Championship, but they had a face-to-face interview. Femi spoke about the dominant year he's had in 2025. He said he's going to continue ruling over WWE in the new year. Slater talked about how he got into wrestling at such a young age and knowing that his match against Femi is the biggest of his life. And, just bring it on. Slater is a contender, and say what you will about the relationship between TNA and WWE. Leon Slater is a star, and on not on the level of Obafemi, but definitely is valuable for going after that NXT championship.
Also, when I saw the detail or I saw what they went through in the video package to kind of get this match over, it's like, oh, okay. Like they didn't do it to this extent with Henry, but it's like, man, it is obvious that they are not going to let TNA. They are working hard to let it be known that we're putting in all the work we can now to let it be known that we are very interested. So yeah, but 100%. Like I've already kind of said what I mean, I like the crazy thing about it is that before he ever started to kind of work in the system or even work with Javon, I definitely looked at Leon Slater and saw the potential just from like some of the stuff I seen. The funny thing about it, I saw clips of him way before he ever even joined Impact, and I was like, man, he looks, he does some pretty cool things, and then you watch him. Again, you watch him grow, and then you watch him join the Impact roster and stand out. And I was like, oh yeah, he definitely has the potential to be one of those guys. So yeah, I mean, like you said, I don't. Again, Obafemi is really hard to compare anybody's potential to that because I think we all can see that he's going to be the man, and it shouldn't take long unless they lose their bleeping brain up there, which they can do, but I hope they don't. But yeah, so it's hard to compare in that regard, but I think we all can see that his potential is off the meter, and he can definitely be a shining star. The same way I kind of look at Javon Leon. Maybe I would prefer Javon because I can, with his size, I can see him even growing to be even better. But at the same time, Leon is right there, and he definitely could be a valuable member of any roster. But most likely, the way it's looking, WWE ain't letting that man go.
Yeah. Well, we mentioned Javon Evans and Ian Ricky Saints met in the ring with Ava and a handful of security guards who obviously never going to keep the peace. Saints tried to
Never.
justify his actions, but Evans wasn't hearing it. He called Saints jealous of his success and says he isn't as good as he thinks he is. Evans recounted some of his recent accomplishments while saying Saints is really an afterthought. The young OG made a lot of good points and showed good intensity. Ava booked them for a singles match for next week in the hopes of ending this once and for all. But it's weird to have two talk segments next to each other. I know there was one backstage, and again, Monty, like you said, I just can't get out of my mind that it should be Javon and Oba building to this big match, even though I quite like the direction they're going anyway. You know?
Yeah, I can't. Again, I'm not gonna act like I disagree or don't understand where you're coming from. It's kind of like when Trick and Mello was kind of building towards something their entire run. I mean, obviously they teamed together, but then we get that Trick and Mello. It's like as if we never got them one on one the three times we got it, or we didn't get that match that we wanted to have it at Stand and Deliver, and then people move on and do their own thing on the main roster and vice versa. So, yeah, I mean, because usually from what we've kind of been programmed to believe that we're gonna get, and I to be honest, I honestly believe that uh, if if it was in the control of the decision makers of NXT, there's no way that we don't get this match to be our main event and stand and deliver. But I think uh, again, kind of like what we already kind of got a peek at with John Cena's last match. Obafemi is such. I mean, even Javon also, they both were on that card. So the main roster has already taken note, and I think we would have we got like what uh, moment number 6,000 to blame on most likely Triple H because I think he has stuck his nose into NXT and kind of taken away that moment. But I do still think I can blame Triple H only but so much because I'm with you. They did have a window here also to kind of still have that be the main focus of this last quarter of the year because we know that's the biggest possible match and two of the biggest stars of this era. But again, I don't think I'm with you. I think where Ricky is coming from also, I do like us kind of using this to make people be more annoyed at Ricky.
Yeah.
So I don't mind that either because I do think Ricky needs viable baby faces to kind of pad where I think we're heading with him. But yeah, 100% though. I'm with you when it comes to Oba and Javon. It's hard to look at this and not want to see them be involved with each other. But yeah, I'm also again we are still getting like a fresh encounter in both scenarios. We still get Leon and Oba, which is fresh, and we get this, and we get Ricky and Javon, which is fresh too. So I can complain, but I'm not like mad about it.
Yeah. Well, we'll move on. LFG Season 2 winners Skylar Ray and Shiloh Hill took on Stax and Armagana Grace in a mixed tag match following the
Yay,
confrontation they had
Stat.
on the last update. The Bayface ended up scoring a victory when Ray hit a frog splash on Grace for the pin. I'm not sure about this. I mean, I did like the keyboard strike to the back of Stax, but apart from that, nothing much else. The second speed tournament bout took place as Andre Chase battled Lexus King. Came down to the last 30 seconds, but King scored a win to advance to the finals. And then the week's main event features Sol Ruka challenging Chelsea Green for the United States Championship. As Aria even Page were fireball at ringside. Moose showed up and attacked all ego towards the end of the bout. Fire helped Green take control and hit a finisher while the ref was distracted, which led to her getting a pin and retain the title. Zarya hit Fire and Green with a spear for Ruka hitting both with a soul snatcher to end the show in a high note. I mean, what are your thoughts? I mean, I like this, and I'm sure the two will work plenty more times in the future.
Yeah, I think this was pretty cool. I think obviously again, kind of like what I mentioned with Javon and but we can definitely see Saul Ruka peaking interest, on the main roster and being probably up there sooner than later. Even if I think personally, I think she got so much more that she could do. Like to me, she's so talented that it's crazy to me that, and maybe I'm jumping the gun on Saul and I'm just assuming, but it's crazy to me that if she were to kind of go up, get called up soon, that she don't have a crazy run with the title. of some like how do you have somebody that talented and then she's injury free for this long, and then we get Jason Jane as champion and not so like that's the
I know.
crazy thing to me. She don't get a run with it, but Jason Jane does. And again, I've been impressed with the work Jason Jane has put in to get where she's at, but again, it's rare that you see somebody with that can do the thing so Ruku does, and she's not uh, focused on more prominently all through the card. But with that being said, this was pretty good. I think this is good as it probably could be because I left it kind of wanting more from the actual encounter between the two, but that was more so just a thing of like I can see them like you mentioned wrestling each other many more times, and I can see them you know having pretty solid chemistry here, and it could have had even more chemistry. It would probably a little bit more time, but obviously, again, like we know in typical NXT fashion, they're trying to tell multiple stories here with the Ethan Page and the Moose stuff, and then Zaria's involvement also. So we got a lot going on in this one, but I thought it was still solid. And like you mentioned, this is probably just a taste of what we'll probably see way more of as we continue down Sol Ruker's career.
Right, well, on NXT, December 30th, so the last NXT of the year, and it opened with Moose making his entrance for his North American Championship match against All Ego. Despite a good effort from the challenger, Page emerged victorious. I mean, it was a solid 15-minute match, but again, Moose didn't stand a chance. I mean, how many times has Moose lost in NXT? It's been crazy. He did take a sick bump with his back on the stairs, and obviously Page was on top of his game as usual, you know?
Yeah, but this is another one where I'm just like, okay, I don't know when it became. I don't know why we're doing this with these two guys. Like, what I mean by that is like, I'm not. I was about to say that I don't know when NXT became this 5 minute match type of deal, but for a while, if we're being honest, NXT weekly television have kind of done this a couple of times. But for people like Ethan Page and Moose, we know they can do a lot. Not only just better than this, but it's just like I don't understand how you get both of those guys on the card in a title match and they don't get 10 to 15 minutes to actually do something. And like you mean, it did make Moose kind of look, you know, just I don't know. He didn't look like he had yeah, he felt like I don't want to say he was a jobber, but it was as close to a job as you can get at times. But I do think, like you mentioned, it was a good stretch. And Ethan again looked great, like you mentioned, but and it was some good reverses. But it's like it's no way that they couldn't have. And maybe that's what it is. They did the best. They gave the best 8 minutes they could give you. But there's no way, in my opinion, you can book this match and not give them 15 minutes. And it would have been probably something that people talked about or remembered a lot better than we probably do. But it did the job. Ethan defends his belt again, and you know, I don't know. I don't at this point the impact relationship. It is what it is, guys. Like I'm really like for all the impact fans, as far as like when you guys come to NXT, we gotta just be honest with ourselves and let it be known that only a few impact guys, if that, are going to look good when they're on NXT. And I hate that, but that's where we are. We've kind of been there for a while, but if Moose can't get more than this, more than like if Moose can't get a 10 minute match and actually look like he has a chance at winning the North American title, I don't think it bodes well for any other guys, any other people on NXT roster.
Yeah, but this is the thing. I think Moose has picked up the most losses for NXT talent, for the TNA talent on NXT, and it made me laugh well because, like I said, Ethan Page doesn't defend versus NXT talent anymore. You know, but we got the NXT Year End Awards, and they were announced. The first award for Male Superstar of the Year went to Javon Evans. That was a strange choice, I think, especially with Obafemi as dominant. I mean, I'm not going to like really go into it, but. Did you think did Javon win it? Deserve it for you?
I mean, I don't know what I don't understand. I don't know the necessary metrics. I mean, if this is fan voted, then sure. Like if you're telling me people went on, I don't know if they even still do this. If this was interactive and people went on WWE.com, if people still do that, I don't know why. But if you went on the website and voted for a person, then all right, sure. But yeah, if we're just talking about who I would probably give it to or who makes the most sense, yeah, I don't see how you get there without giving it to over. But I'm not mad about it. It
No.
is what it is. And, it's just, I don't know. This is pretty much what NXT slamming, I guess, is the best way to look at it. So
Yeah,
yeah, I
it
don't
might
really
just be a
think it matters.
production member. I mean, who knows? Tag team of
Yeah,
the year was old Ruka. Ruka also was announced as the female superstar of the year. Match of the year was Oba versus Javon versus Trick from Stand and Deliver, which again I think was the right choice. And then we had Izzy Dame come out to the ring alone to call out Tatum Paxley because Sean Spears and Nico Vance were too afraid of what Paxley will do. Dame called Paxley a coward and said she can't be fixed. The crowd chanted for Tatum until the music hit. She came out to respond. Pax said she doesn't need friends like Dame. She needs friends who've been with her since the start, like the NXT universe. And as they said, we'll have another match next week for taking Izzy down with a finisher. This was slightly ruined by a couple of people in the crowd right at the end, just screaming their fucking head off for no reason.
yeah, it was fine. I did find myself not really thinking it was necessary. Like y'all can put this in a y'all can just did a backstage segment and put this in. That's one thing I will say is like at this point of the we know about the betrayal. And this is not it's not just a NXT thing because WWE main roster do this from time to time too. It's just like at some point we've already said all the words we gotta say. I mean, she broke down a wall chasing the woman just the
Yeah.
other week. Like, what else do we actually need to talk about this? You know what I'm saying? Let's just get to the match. So, maybe that's a little bit. Maybe I'm just impatient, but I don't think the storyline or anything advanced by us having this, little segment here to kind of hype up next week's match. So, yeah, that's kind of like my only thing, but it's WWE, so it happens.
No, but I completely agree with you. And I think, especially reviewing or catching up as I have with like the December stuff, just shows you how much is either repeated or extended or not really needed. Like
Yeah,
even with like the end of year awards or backstage stuff, and it's just like there was something we were watching them with NXT, and it was just like the Unreal. It was just like a trailer for that for like 5 minutes. I go, why the fuck am I watching this for? Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna fast forward this because you're just putting shit there we don't need. Jace Jane will face Ren Sinclair next. She will face her, and she has faced her. Gray was attacked backstage, so Ren was alone. Jane was able to hit the rolling encore for the pin and win with surprising little help. Gray did manage to make the save during a post-match beatdown and cleared the ring with all three members of Fatal Influence. They really like Gray. Uh, yeah, because
yeah,
his last, it's just
they
I don't
do.
know.
They really do. I told
It's
you.
just really
I
like
told you.
it.
They really like it, bro.
His last concert was cut short by The Miz, so Joe Hendry was hoping he might be able to finish the full song when he had another concert on this week's show. He recalled some of his biggest moments of 2025 and said he was written a song to wrap up an amazing year. Tony D'Angelo could be seen standing at the top of the stands as Hendry sang, but it wasn't supposed to be too obvious. He was just a fan. The lights went out and Dark State showed up to attack Hendry in a 4-1 beatdown. I mean, the only highlight is Booker T singing Hendry's entrance. Like, don't get me wrong, I like the song, but again, it's just like Dark State. Again, is this what we're doing?
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't think my opinion on them has changed much at all. My biggest issue with them, if I have another one besides what I've already kind of said, is just like from that moment they haven't really done anything to change it since they kind of debuted. Like they direction don't make a lot of sense to me. They're not the most interesting. They are the same as what we just saw with Eli Knight. The only difference is they all dress up and like it's like that's what it is. Just like we got five young wrestlers who obviously got four. However, I don't even know how many members it is at the moment, but we got a number of wrestlers grouped together who obviously need to kind of get more reps in and improve. And we will see more of them in the future. But as a group, they don't really do much other than I mean, depending on what you're into, I guess look. Do they look cool to you? I don't know. They just you know what I mean. They're just together, and I don't know their direction. And then, like you said, when it comes to Hendry at this point, I'm in the same boat. I mean, at this point, they kind of relegated him to uh, to just a song and a gimmick. Like Jay Uso gets killed, or so they say that. But I'm like, y'all ain't seen nothing. Y'all ain't seen somebody get relegated to just a gimmick at this point. Like that's Henry. And I know some people may not like Joe or whatever, but I'm just saying they've already kind of WWE-ified everything that was kind of clever about Joe and Impact. So we'll see. We'll give it time. I'm not really too hard on Joe yet because I know I know how it goes when you come to WWE from somewhere else. You kind of got to find your footing. Even though he kind of like been like a shadow WWE member for a while, low key. But yeah, so we'll give Joe a little time. But I'm not being that nice to Dark State. Dark State is just boring.
Yeah. They start trying to be the Shield and, like I said, ended up as Retribution. But the
Yeah.
finals at the men's speed tournament took place with Taven Heights, Alexis King fighting over the title against Jasper Troy, trying to get a title shot for Troy's title. As soon as the match started, Heights grabbed King and hit a belly to belly suplex to win the match in a matter of seconds.
Woo!
That's
Superstar,
oh
Lexi King. Watch
no.
out for him, guys.
We think Hendry's got it bad. OTM destroyed Swipe right. Can I just say, Jackson Drake looks like Ethan Page has just made a wish to Zoltar. Yes, that was a big
Yeah.
reference. Thank you very much. And it
Yeah.
was hilarious.
Yeah.
The main event was Javon Evans versus Ricky Saints. Evans went after Saints as soon as he got in the ring, but the former NXT champ quickly turned things around and made it an even fight. Once Saints began focusing on his opponent's leg to ground a high fly, he seemed to find his groove. These two worked together to put on a fun and frantic main event. The ref was taken out with the best bump I have ever seen when Evans accidentally hit him with a springboard cutter. So Saints took advantage of the situation and hit a low blow. A new ref arrived to count the pin for Saints just after he'd hit his finisher. I mean, what were your thoughts on this?
Really like this because it kind of like it show you that even in today's modern wrestling, they can kind of get bogged down with being like flashy or even like I said, even the bad guys trying to be cool. I thought this was very traditional in a sense, and like just what we kind of got out of it. If you ask me, I mean, think about it. I mean, you got like a high flying, again one of those flash guys with Javon Evans who can, who again, in my opinion, I think the real reason why I understand why I feel like he could definitely be ready for a call up because conveying that emotion is where a lot of these guys who can do a lot of the cool stuff kind of lack, in my opinion. They don't really like, yeah, they sell, but you don't really feel like you need to root for them through something because maybe the facial expressions aren't there, or maybe whatever, whatever. And I think one of the biggest things that Javon has shown improvement on since coming into NXT, besides of course his talking, is in my opinion, that the fact that I feel like the more you watch him have to sell that leg or have to kind of put over the fact that he's in danger as a babyface, he's kind of gotten better at conveying that through the television screen and into the audience. So I think that is one of those things that I kind of look out for, especially in my baby faces. But this is one of those things where I also feel like with Ricky, I feel like this is more his style. This is what Ricky is capable of when he's not that he's not a good face, because I think Ricky can be cool, but I just think when he's trying to be vicious and when he's just doing his thing aggressively like this against a guy like a Javon Evans, his style fits really, really well in this match. And then, like I said, I just thought it was smart to target the leg, not only because we know Javon is a high flyer, but it's just something that's easily. It doesn't matter who you are. Like even if Ricky was fighting over Fumi, if you get good shots on that leg, it is believable that you got a shot in that fight because when you attack a limb like that, you can get an advantage. And I think they did a good job of being smart. And sometimes I just think you keep it simple, in my opinion. What I'm trying to say, like the low blow, like all of this is stuff that you can kind of say you did seen before. I do think the like you said, a rough bump and all that. Like you said, nothing. I mean, the quality of the bump makes it something I've never really, like you said, never really seen before. But I do think getting to that spot, getting to the low blow finish, all of that is like you said, versions of stuff that's been done before. But it's not. You don't always got to rewrite the book, in my opinion. And I think sometimes in modern day wrestling, fans or people, even wrestlers, kind of get bogged down in trying to do so much we've never seen before that you forget you can still have a really good or compelling match hitting the hits, so to speak, or doing the greatest hits of wrestling, so to speak. And that's what this kind of felt like to me, even though I thought it had some elements of it that was really good too.
Yeah, I mean NXT hilariously put up the wrong graphic for Javon's entrance, so we saw the women's championship instead of Javon. These NXT barriers aren't shit as well. I've got to admit that you've really got to reinvest in the barriers. And like I said, it's the best bump ever because the referee took it like he was like, "This is my moment. I might never get a chance." He bumped like Mr. Perfect, or more up to the Dolph Ziggler, you know, like to get the job done.
I'm not that
Uh,
young. I know Kurt Hennig, but I got
Well,
you.
I mean, I don't know the covered. I mean, I know the listener age probably about 50, but pretend, pretend it's younger. Impact January 1st, and we heard from the NXT Outlaws, led by Ariana Grace and international champion Stax. Grace explained that she had lived in her father's shadow for her entire life, and that is why she betrayed Santino Marella. Anyway, January 6th, NXT New Year's Eve, all the show opened with a special video looking back at 2025 before we went live in the arena. Vic Joseph, Booker T with a crow's nest instead of the comedy dress to introduce the show. Thea Howard began making her entrance for the North American title bout with Blake Monroe, but Blake attacked her from behind. She threw Howard into the steel steps and nailed her with a steel chair. As officials tried to separate the women, Ricky Saints' music hit, and he made his way to the ring. He said it looked like the match would be put on pause, so he decided to give the crowd a gift by kicking off the show. The crowd booed and jeered Saints. He spoke about being the biggest star in NXT. He said no matter who leaves with the NXT Championship Tuesday night, he is winning it for them. And after Ava Bam, Blake Monroe from the arena, we finally got a first match tonight. Before that, I've moved on a little bit too quick. Let's just talk about that crazy start because we thought we were going to get a match. Blake attacked, and then I did find it quite funny Ricky taking his moment because, like I said, that's the heel Ricky we need.
Yeah, that's Ricky at his best. That was some very entertaining stuff, very entertaining way. And I didn't really know how to feel. I think we'll talk about like where we're kind of going with this a little bit later. So like that'll probably complete the way I kind of felt about their opening altogether. But at the time when I was watching it, it was definitely an interesting way to kind of do it. You know what I'm saying? It's just I can't I don't understand in my opinion like I do understand it, but it's just like all right, so we're going full psychopath for Blake at this point. It's like we're not just full out of control Blake Monroe at this point, I guess, in a sense. But yeah, again, I thought it was an interesting way to open the show, and like you said, Ricky doing what he did was just it really helped again, especially since he don't have a match. This is pretty much a women's match card until we get to the main event. He don't really got a match this week. He just handled. We just the last time we saw him, he handled business against Javon. So he seemed to be on a pretty good roll now. And like I agree, this if they lean more into this, Ricky, I can see this Ricky taking over this era of NXT if things fall his way accordingly, of course. But yeah, like the more and more promos like that, more and more moments of him showing off that ego and showing off the way he kind of can take over. Because that's kind of like what got him where he was in AEW was the ability sometimes to not only do it verbally, but just be at the perfect place at the perfect time to kind of take over segments.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think again, I've got no problem with someone being a solid worker and getting a job done in the ring. But like you said, especially when it comes to WWE and then NXT, it's the character work that's going to define you, And Ricky is
Yeah.
finally showing that. And so up next was Tatum Paxley versus Izzy Dame. Dame took. My God, I've got to get my teeth in today. Dame took control early while talking lots of trash. She threw Paxley from corner to corner, but she went to the well once too often and ended up in a half crab in a corner. The crowd chant for Paxley began to take over. They traded control back and forth several times, so it didn't become clear who would win. Dame failed to pin Paxley multiple times for taking her out of the ring with a brutal spear through the ropes and sending her into the steps. Paxley did recover, hit a 450, followed by a finisher for the pin and the win. What were your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, I thought this was good. Like you mentioned, I think it was a good little conclusion, or at least seemingly a good little conclusion to what we kind of had going on here. We kind of know what Tatum is capable of. I think in this match, you got a chance to see, in my opinion, how good Tatum is by comparison to what I think Izzy is. I think you can see the prospect in Tatum. I mean, not Tatum, but well, Tatum is obviously a prospect, but I think we've kind of already seen a little bit how good she really can be. And in my opinion, I think she's close. She's very close to ready. The crazy thing is, I think when we are at that point in NXT where you can go down a list, like you mentioned Lola Vice earlier, and a couple other names that we talk about all the time on this show, because they're booked so much. It's a lot more women, and I think this kind of goes back to like that little quote that I think Triple H gave on Unreal. We are at a place right now where a lot of women in NXT seem to be a lot more closer to ready than where we are with a big bulk of the men down there. And it's kind of crazy because, even though I think Tatum got a lot more run that she can do in NXT, she in this match led the way and I thought sold so well. And just, again, very, 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 very strong performance with her. And then I thought her and Izzy had pretty good chemistry and with the story. And, like, again, to be honest, I think with the story that they kind of told going into it, it would have been nice maybe to get this. I don't know if this is maybe that's why I don't feel like this is the legit blow off. Maybe it's maybe a blow off for now. But to me, it's just like I don't know how you can do the story that they were trying to tell, and we don't get a stipulation or something also attached to it. But again, this is really good. I think Tatum is way closer to being ready than Izzy is at the moment. But I see with the size and everything Izzy can bring to the table that she has the potential to be, possibly at the top of the card sooner than rather than later. So yeah, I like what Paxton did here, and for the most part, and I think she is the one to really watch out of the two. But yeah, I thought this was a pretty good close to this book for now because I don't necessarily know if we're done with this for good.
Yeah, we need a chainsaw and a pole match, don't we? But as you mentioned, Tatum has that connection with the crowd, and Dane will go far, but not for her wrestling skills. But I will say this was a lot better than their first encounter, so credit where it's due. And the French luchador is coming to NXT. It's nice. NXT Women's Championship was on the line when JC Jane defended against the current Evolve Women's Champ Kendall Gray. Ren Sinclair, Fallon Henley, Lani Reed were at ringside. Gray used her speed and agility to run circles around Jane before drop kick her out of the ring so she take out the entire fatal influence with a textbook moonsault. Henley Reid got involved to cause distraction and break an armbar, but Gray recovered and locked it back in. Jane escaped with a little help from Henley, and she hit her finisher for the win. And all I got to say is no disrespect, but how the fuck is JC Jane still champion in 2026? Yeah, I nearly said it earlier when you mentioned about Sol Ruka not having him on, but like Lola Vice, Jada Parker, like what the fuck has happened?
That is the most bizarre part of what I kind of be talking about how ready I feel like a lot of the women are for the main roster. Like we could be in an era where there's some talented women who don't touch the world title because we're still doing this. And I can't even call it an experiment at this point. Like we're here and we've been here for a while. Like at this point, JC Jane is the face of the women's division, and that's crazy that. And I do think she's improved. I don't like taking stuff away from her, like you mentioned, no disrespect, because I do see why she's there. And I think even with the fatal attraction or whatever, I get like what the faction can do, the numbers game. Like I got it. I still stand on the fact that I think if we're just doing better wrestlers one on one, I still think Fallon Henry is better than her. Like, but it is what it is. Like we are here. I think JC is, at least as far as a confidence standpoint, she does exude championship material at this point. But maybe that's because I've watched her carry it for so long. Maybe I've been brainwashed to believe that, maybe. But yeah, I'm with you overall. Like because and it's not even so much as that I hate on her. It's like more so to where I'm like, if I'm thinking about NXT women currently, and I think about quality, or I think about if I did like a ranking, it's about three or four women that I probably would put over her immediately in my mind. And then you even got, in my opinion, what Kendall Gray has showed me. I see why. I mean, I'm not trying to say Kendall Gray is I haven't seen enough to be like she's so special, but everyone loves Kendall Gray, and I get why, because I see the athleticism and I see what she's been doing, and I see the instincts that she have, and I think the reason why is that I see why people like Kendall, even though I think so far it's like we mentioned, NXT is more so about character. And Kendall will really be out of here if they decide to just kind of go past where she is now. To me, even with the straps and all this, and I get it. Maybe it's because they see the talent, they see how good she is already, and they feel like her gimmick should just be, I'm a really good wrestler. But this is WWE, y'all. You guys know what happens to people who whole entire personality and character is, I'm a really good wrestler. You know what happens to those people. So yes, Kendall, in my opinion, did show up in this match, and I do like, in my opinion, her. I think if we just talked about wrestling, Kendall is probably already better than Jason James. But again, because they don't necessarily reward that, that might be why we have the situation where we're in when we look at Jason James being not probably behind 8 of the other girls as far as like where we see talent in the ring, but she is the champion because that is not necessarily what's always valued, especially in WWE. So we'll see. I thought Jason did good in this match too. I thought this was one of the better matches because that's one thing I will give her props on. Since becoming the champion, she seemed to be improving, and like I guess that's what you can ask for. Even though I think, like I mentioned, like we basically the overall point of what we're saying is that it is better women here, and this I can't believe that it's taking this long for them to just book one of those better women to beat her. But that's where we are right now, and hopefully it happens. Sooner than later. But yeah, man, they riding that Jason James wave, and we just gonna have to deal with it or replace it with all the other storylines that we have going on. Because that's kind of what I've been doing. I just kind of been focused elsewhere. So maybe that's what we kind of have to do. But yeah, that's where we are, James.
Well, I think that's my problem because every update I go, right, who are the champions? And I go, who the fuck is the women's champion? It's like, oh, it's JCJ. I mean, to be fair, I also do it for the tag team champions, but that's just because of the division
Well, that's
shit.
just
You know,
yeah,
yeah,
that's just
they're the
way
two.
that's way more depressing than Jason James.
Yeah, they're the two champions. I'm always going, right. But it was like I said, it was a good match, and Thea Howell convinced Ava to let her defend the North American title in an open challenge. Oh, what could go wrong here? She was
Mm,
looking a little worse for wear. She limped to the ring, holding her
oh,
ribs.
oh.
Surprised she didn't have any tape on it or bandages. She gave a quick promo saying she promised the fans a title bout, so she's gonna deliver. Maybe speak to them and say, "Do you mind me taking the week off?" But anyway, several women came out to answer the challenge, but Paxi showed up with a chainsaw and cut to the front of the line. But suddenly Dame appeared behind Hale and kicked her in the head. The culling made the ref get in the ring and call for the bell. So the match was official between Dame and Hale. And the longer it went, the more frustrated Dame looked. Hale kept making short comebacks. The fight spilled out the ring. Dame chokeslammed the champion on the announce desk. And in the end, she ended up getting the win, become the new North American champion. I mean, what the fuck was this? It's just like I was just. Did we skip 4 weeks of NXT or something like that? I'm not sure.
Mind you, this is the exact same show that we had that nice opening. And I told you that I'm gonna wait to give my thoughts on because it just we again, and this is again, and I don't again. I'm not trying to say this because I know what WWE is. I think some fans get sidetracked and they get frustrated with WWE because they want WWE to be something that is not. They want you to value great wrestlers the way that they value just great wrestling. And we again, WWE can only show you so many times how they feel about it. This is a perfect example because say what you want about Thea Hill. We don't even gotta say Thea Hill can lose this belt. And but like, why are we doing gymnastics around Blake Monroe? Are we doing this to get Blake to the world title? Because that's where I came away from where I was just mostly annoyed because I'm like, if you're gonna do this, let her be dumb enough. Let's not ban Blake from the arena. Let's just move the match around and let Thea be dumb enough to not accept Ava trying to cancel the match. and then she can still be the dumb babyface who lose her title because that's basically what happened. And like again, babyfaces are stupid. Zack Sabre Jr. He told me that wrestlers are not the smartest people in the world because they sit there and they wait on people to moonsault them and stuff like that. So I get it. I understand. I know that this can happen. I'm not trying. I understood what story they're trying to tell with the she's gutsy, she's a fighting champion, which if you watch enough wrestling, this is why heels are so popular. I think most fans should probably stop watching wrestling because you will hate baby faces if you watch too much, in
Yeah.
my opinion. Because how many ways can we tell her that was just stupid anyway that she was in this situation? But besides that, the execution of this was just bad. How the person with a chainsaw have to leave anything, she got the chainsaw. So I'm just like, what are we doing? This is just ridiculous in so many ways. Before we even get to the fact that Izzy lost a match earlier, and but was able to come out here and but walk out champion. So I don't know. I'm obviously not a fan of the decision, but here we are again, and now we got two belts. Now we got two of our women's belts of all the belts in NXT pretty much taken up by people that we know can't really lace the boots of a wrestling when it comes to other people on the women's roster. So that they reinforced what they kind of specialize. Like they reinforced that, yeah, Blake Monroe is one of the best women's wrestlers in the world. She's not an NXT championship right now. Or Soul Ruka, or insert name here. So or Lola Vice should just be buried, man. It's like I can't even like y'all can't even let me come win the impromptu title matches.
No, no,
Anyway,
man. No, honestly, like it's when you think about it, it is just kind of crazy where we go, and it makes Blake Monroe seem. It's like you said, it's not just dumb baby faces now; it's dumb heels because Blake basically
yeah,
handed it to Izzy on a silver platter. I just don't. I just
makes
don't
no
know.
sense, man.
No. When we returned from a break, Old Ego was in the ring trying to hold a celebration for himself since he had more successful title matches than anyone else in NXT in 2025. He bragged about beating Moose and sending him back to TNA. He said, despite Femi and Slater having a title match, they are not the main event because he is. He talked about how he's defeated people in many countries for many brands before he's interrupted by Jasper Troy, the men's speed champion. He said he was out to prove he is the best big man in NXT, which brought out Josh Briggs to claim out he was the best big man. They were soon joined by TNA International Stacks. Shyla Hill also made an appearance and said he had an upcoming title match against Stacks, thanks to Santino. Tavian
Oh,
Heights was up
God.
next and said he had a match for a title against Troy for next week. This predictably brought into a huge fight that ended with Hill as the last man standing. Hill's tooth also fell on Grace. I mean, what a load of... Are they just trying to make us stop watching NXT with the last two segments? Like, I thought this was going somewhere, and it was just like, oh, okay. We're just trying to fit people in.
At this point, I just like give me over Femi, man, and let's go. Can we get to the over Femi match, please? And like
Yeah.
it's so frustrating. Like, and the thing is, we took so many steps back here in this last quarter of NXT to where I felt like I said, one of my biggest things, besides the booking of the women's division, one of the coolest things to me that NXT always had going for it, in my opinion, was like, even if it wasn't the funniest segment or it made the most sense, or to you, or like let's say it this way, you weren't invested. Most of the time, you can take a logical step for why we were watching, say it backstage segment, watching this, watching it. Even when the family was doing every stupid vignette you could think of, at least I kind of knew
Mm-hmm.
why I was watching it at the time, or or the fact that we were leading to a tag team match, or we leading to somebody turning on Tony D, whatever the thing may be. And then you cannot convince me that ain't nothing but hey man, we got like however many minutes left, but we gotta give Oba and Leon 15 minutes, so we need to do something right here to pad the time of the runtime of the show so we can get to the main event. Because what was the purpose of any of that? Just
Yeah.
like, man, what a waste of time.
And the thing is, the thing that's annoying, even more so, is that this is their big show. especially with the update,
Right.
New is evil, and they're literally just so, like I said, so much filler at the moment. Now, I don't know if there's like a mad scramble. I know people blamed like the Thea Hal Blake Monroe thing, for all changing booking or the tapings, but is you think maybe with what's going on with, like we said, Oba and Javon and everything else,
Yeah.
it's a mad scramble at the moment, which is not it's not not enjoyable. Do you know what I mean? They're not in that
Right.
way, but it's just weird. Anyway, we'll speak about more obviously when we get the wrap up of NXT. But Joe Hendry got OTM as backup to fend off Dark State. That was a good idea. The main event of the night was the NXT Championship match between Obafemi and Leon Slater. TNA's Carlos Silva was ringside to watch his man compete for the belt. The ruler was able to keep Slater grounded by holding him in a wrist lock for a little while. He was trying to take the X Division champion apart, but Slater kept trying to fight back. Slater lured Femi into hitting his knee against the ring post, and the High Flyer was able to take control and sent Femi over the steel steps. Femi did a good job of selling. While he still appearing to be his usual dominant self, he eventually got the job done with the fall from grace. Monty, what are your thoughts on this? There's one moment I did love, and again, I know he's WWE bound, but Leon Slater, the focus in his eyes during the in-ring introduction at the start of it gave me chills a little bit with how switched on he actually was.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I thought, like you mentioned, the intensity at the beginning of the show, at the beginning of the match, definitely was there, and you could tell that this was. You could tell maybe it's because this may have been a little bit important, more not more important, but it felt like some importance was involved in this one. So, you kind of put your A game face on, which is exactly what you want from a young kid, especially again in a big match like that. But yeah, man, this one was this is really good. I think my only thing is that maybe I went into it kind of with a comparison mind state that I shouldn't have went into it because I was looking at the potential of a Leon and looking at what I've seen from him so far and how I kind of put him on the spectrum of a Javon. Maybe I came into it kind of expecting that type of energy, and I thought it was definitely good. Don't get me wrong; it was definitely some good here, and it was definitely elements of elements of the intensity that made the Javon over matches so good. But they're different guys, different time. There's also a different chemistry, and I think I maybe looking back on it now, I probably could have gave more of that thought into it. But I did come away a little bit disappointed in the quality of the overall match, but at the same time, I thought it did what it needed to do. It was a good, solid defense. Obo looked great, and I thought maybe Leon could have got a little bit more offense in, but it is again Obo Femi, so I'm not really, I'm not harping on that too much. But yeah, man, this was again, I thought it was a pretty good match. But I definitely, maybe it was just me. I was looking for a little bit more out of the actual match, but it was definitely a lot of good there. And maybe the more they interact, in the future, because again, I think we all can smell that they probably will. Uh, they'll be able to show even more than that. But yeah, overall, I definitely thought it was good. I think Ova probably have way better chemistry with Javon, but that doesn't take away from this match.
No, and again, I mean, I love the David versus Goliath type matchups anyway, so I was really, really into this. And then strangely, Ava afterwards confirmed that Javon Evans, Trick Williams, Lash Legend, and Jordan Grace have all moved to the main roster. And if it didn't make matters worse, it appeared the show ended with Femi leaving the NXT title in a ring, possibly indicating that he was relinquishing that championship. Tony D was shown looking at it from the crowd, but I mean, before we get to Oba, first off, Javon, Trick, Lash, and Grace. I mean, my God, they're gutting out NXT. What's happening?
I mean, you can't really put it any other way to how you just said it. That's exactly what's happening. They've it's kind of like I don't want to say a yearly thing because I hate to kind of stoke that fire and make it seem like every year we're gonna just get invested. But we seem to be at that point almost to where we get invested in people. We get invested in talent and kind of similar to where we were with the women's division with Julia, Steph, and Roxanne, kind of losing them all around a similar quarter of the time. Not too much time in between when they all kind of left. Uh, and like this one was even more overt because you actually literally have Ava like calling a lot of these people that we barely know the names of and letting them know that yeah, we're gonna need you guys to step up because all the people who everybody actually like to watch this show for are leaving.
Crazy.
That's kind of what that whole segment felt like. But hey, faceless guys, we're gonna need you guys. We don't. I know we don't really know because there's a couple people that I'm like, who the hell is that? But anyway, it's like, yeah, like, yeah, we're gonna need you guys to step up because the actual meat of the card outside of maybe Ricky and Ethan are gone, and it's just like, and so Ruka maybe, and yeah, it was tough. It was tough. I think like I said, the writing was on the wall because like these people are already getting like not really I don't know if they were all getting vignettes, but like I said, the last show of Cena, the Cena show, was definitely a big tell. Even though that we could have just looked, maybe you was delusional and just saying, that's just because Cena wanted to showcase NXT. But no, 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 no. That was definitely a tryout, like a television tryout, basically. And Oba, I kind of figured because I think we kind of talked about, especially after the losing to Ricky in the hiatus, that he probably was way closer to being already gone than he wasn't. But at the same time, I think we all know, like we want. I think we want. I know I wanted more more opportunities to watch Javon in NXT and see what he could accomplish. Same thing with, of course, Lash Legend. I don't think she ever scratched the surface, especially if you just go off of booking in NXT. But at the same time, I think the partnership and the stuff with Naya, I'm not mad at that association, and I haven't been mad at what they've been doing together. So that again makes sense. Even if like I said, I can nitpick. Jordan Grace, a central NXT loser. Definitely would have been cool to actually see her do something and win in NXT. But I think we already knew that we knew that Jordan was very close to already main roster level. So I don't really mind that one, but all of them at the same time always is gonna suck and hurt. And but for some reason, this is how they're gonna do these call ups, man. We're gonna, like I said, by the end of the year, the way they seem to like Kendall Gray and whoever else that you want to put
Mm.
Saul Ruka, who you know what I mean? If Saul Ruka make it to the end of the year before getting called up, like that's why when we're doing year end predictions and I gotta predict where we're gonna be at next January, I'm like, I could literally not know any of NXT champions, like not because of like not watching, like it's gonna be just people we don't know yet. It's gonna be people from
Yeah.
Evolve as the champions by the end of December. Like that's where we seem to be because at any time when we're watching at any time NXT can be gutted like this. So it's just one of those things that I've kind of become kind of used to, but I really do wish that we had more of a trajectory, kind of like back in the day. It felt like we knew when it was around that time when people were probably going to be gone. It was done a little bit differently. But now it doesn't really matter what the actual NXT run culminates to. They could potentially be gone. So it
Yeah.
sucks. It really do suck. And I think in this case, it sucks the most is because we don't. In other times, even like for example, for Julia, Stephanie, and them, we saw like literally, I think the same night or whatever, some of those girls left. We had Blake Monroe literally coming in. You know what I mean? Like we had replacements set up. Like for the Trick Williams, we knew Javon, and even though it felt like Trick would have been gone way before Javon would be gone, but they ended up leaving around the same time. But
Mm.
that's my point. Like even for Trick, we had when you Mello left, we knew Trick was gonna be in position. Who is the next? Especially in the men's division? Who's next? Like who's the one? I mean, do we gotta wait? Like is Miles Bourne? Even though they've been kind of Miles Bourne might be closer to gone than he's actually gonna ever be on top of NXT if we really think about it. Like that's where we are right now. Like that's the scariest part. The scariest part is that they're good in the roster, and I feel like we're almost starting from scratch in the men's division.
Well, they did that with the tag team division, didn't they? I think literally the same
And
thing with Ava saying to them all, like, there's a chance after Faction gone. So if that's the case, then no one will answer the call. But again, it's weird to think Trick was the only one who kind of, I don't want to say did it right, but do you know what I mean? Accomplished everything he could in NXT,
yeah,
put someone over, and then eventually left. Javon, I think, still could have had easily. Again, I understand that maybe the rush, but I don't understand the rush to get into the main roster. Another year in NXT, I don't think it's going to hurt him if he's going to have another 25-year career. It's like with Lash makes sense because she's part of the tag team, so at least she's got something to do. And Jordan Grace, I don't know if it was just in her contract she had to be in NXT for a year. Like honestly,
yeah,
I don't know if that because she did nothing. Like
right.
honestly, there
She,
was.
all she did was put people over. To be honest, she literally didn't do anything. Put people over. She didn't really change her character much. Yeah, they didn't change her name.
I
like,
just
like nothing changed. Like she was just there to kind of, I guess, help people along. I guess in a sense, but she really didn't do accomplish anything. And yeah, I'm with you. And then like, if you look at where they're look ahead to where we kind of are now, she's already kind of like just in the seemingly be in the picture against Jade. It's just like what the hell was she ever? I mean, even in the Royal Rumble when she came out, it was like, oh, they brought it up. They said it was Roxanne, but I remember Roxanne had been in NXT and been in the Royal Rumble like so it's like her third Royal Rumble. But Jordan, they were like Jordan's second Royal Rumble. I'm like, you know what? If you think about what she actually did, they could have just put on the main roster. They could have just
yeah.
put her on SmackDown after that Royal Rumble last year because that's if you think about what she actually was able to do in NXT, why not?
Mm. And another thing I hate as well is taking an NXT champion. There is no any champion of NXT. I know they have done it before, but it just doesn't make sense. It just unless they wanted a random ladder match with random people or so. Do you know what I mean? Again, why didn't
Mm-hmm.
they just let up for me Leon upset Oba, and it would have given TNA the biggest moment because the TNA guy would have finally won an NXT title. It would upset Oba, and Oba could recover from a quick pin or wherever it is, and then you can have Leon defending that title and losing it to whoever they want. But I
You
suppose
know why? You already just said why.
I know why, but
He's
I'm
a
saying,
TNA guy.
how good would that have been? Anyway,
Oh, I'm with
on
you. Or
on
just
to,
don't have him beat Ricky.
yeah, well, I
Oba
just
could have
don't.
just not beat Ricky. He literally could have sat on the sideline this last month or so and then just went to the main roster. Get the
I
Royal
know.
Rumble.
Over in TNA, Stacks and Macklin ended in a DQ finish when Ariana got involved. Great. NXT January 13th, and we open with a recap of New Year's Evil. Went live to the arena with Ava holding the NXT title, and she did say Oba Femi relinquished championship. Also, why didn't we see Oba relinquish the championship? Do you know what I mean? That was the thing I didn't like. We didn't see him put the title down on the mat, and we assume, maybe Tony D kidnapped him or something like that. But she said Obafemi had relinquished, and we saw most of the men's rosters found the ring. But once men felt the need to have his own entrance, one man felt the need to have his own entrance, and of course that was Ricky Saints. He made his way out and said he should be the champion, and seemed to think Ava should just hand him the title. Ava said there would be qualifying matches next week to determine who would fight for the NXT Championship in a six-man ladder match on February 3rd. A huge brawl broke out for no reason after the announcement. There was no reason for this brawl, all right? But it was Keanu Carver who was last standing in the ring. I mean, I don't know. This, like you said, this is the future of the men's division. This is it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I from what I didn't watch LFG, but clips circulating. I guess he had like an attitude thing or whatever. So I mean, but I've always, from what I understood, he was always one of the better or more physical people when it came to the in ring stuff. So I think I don't mind the look. I don't mind kind of coming in with him like that. But I do think what you kind of mentioned with Leon, if you don't want to do it to the Impact guy, he don't got to beat over. But like you could have brought Keanu Carver in so many other interesting ways for it. Because again, like I mentioned, we've always kind of had that, and that's where this is where I kind of lean on the side of like you mentioned that it had to be that they had I don't like to think about it this way, especially when you think about who Triple H is getting. But it had to be limited, uh, telling of what was going on when it comes to this. And we've experienced this in the past when it was like they did the whole live draft and they were talking about how a lot of people on NXT was getting taken away without us really knowing when. And I don't. That's what I don't like. I don't really like that. And I think, like you mentioned, NXT always suffers. And again, maybe that's on us for being like a weekly NXT viewer. Like I really believe that they don't want you to care about it. It's kind of like I know you. I don't know if you know much about American baseball, like with the minors, but like the minor league every American baseball team has a minor league team, and they have like a whole system below that kind of they can pull talent from at any time and whatever. Most people, unless you're a really diehard baseball fan, you don't give a damn, but you don't know what the hell your minor league team record is. And you might know some of the talent that you got drafted who might be down there and all that, but you don't keep up with it. And I think that's literally how the higher ups in WWE seem to view NXT. But it's like you guys still put NXT on television to have its own weekly audience. And it's like they don't care about who watch on a week to week basis when it comes to this. So I don't know. Like I said, and or they expected you to watch all of it. They want you to like LFG and Evolve and know who could potentially pop up in NXT one day, which it makes that the minors to NXT and NXT the minors to the main. And again, it's just so much that they want you to follow that I refuse to believe anybody with any kind of life is following all of it. So yeah, man, it's very frustrating, man. But yeah, this is where we are in the men's division. What you saw, who you saw out there in the random brawl is the pool of talent that we're gonna kind of choose from, and I have no strong opinions about anybody other than Ricky. And I would like Ricky, of course, to lead the way if he's going to have to be the vet guy who's still stuck with this. But to be honest, if there's a hole in the roster for heel, Ethan and Ricky could be gone in 6 months.
Mm, yeah. That's the thing. Well, luckily we got the women's division, and we had Kalani Jordan versus Lola Vice. They did a good job keeping the crowd invested. Both women came close to winning at different points, but it was Vice who ended up scoring the win with a brutal spinning back fist. And as we spoke about, Lola is ready for the main roster, but again, don't take any more right now. You know, we've had, we've had enough. The men's speed championship was on the line when Tavian Heights battled Jasper Troy. They used just over 4 to 5 minutes of the match, but Troy emerged victorious after hitting a black hole slam for the pin. King showed up and attacked Heights after the match, to add insult to injury. So it looks like that feud will continue. I mean, why wouldn't either want a shot at the NXT Championship? You know, surely the speed title is much more important. You know, come on. Blake Monroe was out to talk about what happened recently with the North American title. She lost to Thea Hale, who lost it to Izzy Dame. Monroe said she may have attacked Hale before the scheduled match, but she shouldn't even have to compete for her own title in the first place. She claims she's the most complete woman in NXT, and the only reason she isn't champion is because she lost her patience last week and got kicked out of the building. Jada Parker
Wow.
got a nice
Not,
pop.
not because you're stupid. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's it. Jada Parker got a lovely pop when she came out to interrupt the promo. They barely said two words for each other before the fight started. Parker took up Monroe with a hypnotic to end the scuffle. I mean, the thing is, again, Jada Parker's another one of those where it's just like, what are we doing? You know, and she disappears. It might be an injury, might not. We're not sure. But again, it's weird, and there's no doubt, like we said with Blake, that she is the most complete woman, and I think Jada's gonna probably help with a feud from her. You know,
Yeah, I
if that's
think
where they're
Jada would
going.
definitely. Yeah. Jada definitely can improve from it. And I think that's going to be really good for her. But uh, I think Jada. I think to be fair, this is kind of like Jada is one of them women that feel like they're kind of trying to do it right with. Like I do think she's ready, but I think like we talked about, I also think that she hasn't even kind of scratched the surface of what she can probably what she could potentially be. And so what I mean by that is that she could I believe right now that this is fine because it feels like we getting a new version of her, and she's kind of going the babyface route. And I would like, and this is like I always say, unless you're a finished product who just signed, like we mentioned with Jordan Grace or something like that. I'm the type of person who would prefer NXT talent to kind of uh, I'm the type of guy who prefer NXT talent to go through a night, if they can, go through a good run as a heel and go through a good run as a babyface. A length of time as a heel and a length of time as a babyface. So I think now since Jada has kind of, even though to be fair, she always kind of got tweener or babyface reactions, she was kind of moving with an attitude and a heel like persona originally. And that promo felt way more. I got the people behind me. I'm refocused and I'm ready to seriously try for the title, try for the championship. Type of that felt like that type of energy and that type of promo. She's obviously opposite side of Blake, who again I think can definitely help her along. So yeah, do I see more for someone like a Blake? And she should she probably be doing it, but here we are. Because of that stupid decision of not letting a babyface dethrone Thea or just letting Thea keep her belt, Blake is now in a hard place to where she's not even going to actually show. She's not even going to try to chase her championship now because we got heels there, and she also got to act like the world championship don't exist, pretty much. So she just got to say, "I'm the most complete woman," and that means absolutely nothing because you're not chasing a championship at this point.
Mm.
That's where we are right now with Blake Monroe. And like that's very frustrating because I think a lot of this is way out of her control. But yeah, but yeah, so it's weird. I think Jada is fine because I don't mind them trying to go the babyface route and see if that can see how she looks and how can they work. How can she work babyface? Can she show? Can she get empathy from the crowd consistently? So I don't mind her getting more reps. It's kind of like we kind of talked about with like other people getting a chance to do more than one thing, and then that leads me to the thought process of where we are with Blake, and then where I'm just like, okay, she obviously is the best or like the most complete. What are we gonna do with this? Are we just gonna use right now? I feel like we're just gonna use her to try to get other people over. But
She's yeah.
because we got heels as champions though, we're all in a rock in a hard place. So that's why we need to either build up Jada Parker to get one of these belts, or we need Saul Ruka. Somebody got to finally get over the hump so we can get eventually get Blake in that position, or Blake will just be a Jordan Grace who we know got everything it takes, and she
Yes, I
won't get
must
it.
say, yeah.
Yeah, she won't get it until she leaves, which is I don't necessarily want that to be the case, but that might be where we are.
Yeah. Oh, we'll move on. Eddie Olafleur is coming and getting a shot at Ethan Page's North American title. That's good. Ariana Grace accompanied Stacks to the ring for his TNA International Championship match against Shiloh Hill. Grace gave Hill a quick slap before the match got started. With a little help from Grace, again, Stacks was able to reverse an inside cradle to get the pin and the win. The ending was bollocks. I don't like either. And Shiloh Hill makes me like The Undertaker less. And The Undertaker used to be one of my favourite wrestlers. It's crazy how it happens, isn't it? Oh my word. Izzy Dame came out talking about winning the Women's North American Championship. She asked the crowd
Yay.
why they were happy to see her lose to Tatum last week. Said she'd been watching how women in NXT work so she could use it against them. Dame said losing to Paxi gave her clarity, helped led to her becoming champion. This is an hour. All right, the hour she got clarity, and then an hour later she got the championship. She mentioned a few names that she knows want the title shot, but she also said she don't know what they're walking into. Paxi came out and rushed the ring to attack Dame, but security held her back so the champ could escape. Paxi hit a ref. The announcers mentioned it would cost her. The segment just sort of ended there without any resolution. So Paxi hits a ref, and she's gonna, get fined. But Leon Slater wipes out a referee, and I mean, it was an accident. It was an accident. He killed that ref. I'm just saying. Anyway, the main
Obviously,
of
they pick and choose when they want to kill because, like,
yeah,
Blake Monroe got kicked out of the arena, but Tatum has brought a chainsaw to work multiple times. So they
In the
don't.
main event, Joe Hendry got Dion Lennox in a no disqualification match. The match started with an energetic lockup as OTM and the rest of Dark State watched from ringside. It almost felt like a lumberjack match at first because both men were trying to avoid being tossed out near their opponents. Looked like Lennox was going to win, but OTM pulled him out of the ring to break it up. Dark State and OTM fought each other until they were all backstage, leaving Hendry and Lennox to fight alone. Tony D showed up and hit Lennox with a chair, followed by a choke slam. He helped Hendry get up, only to choke slam him too. He put Hendry on top of Lennox to give him the win, making this one of the most confusing endings to a match we've had in quite some time. Tony D took out several security guards. Ava tried to send out to the ring as the show was ending. I don't know. My only thoughts is OTM equals APA. I'm into that. That gimmick hasn't been around in a while, and I'll take that.
You know what? That's fair. I didn't really connect the dots, but that's actually pretty fair. I went that might be a way to make them kind of stand out outside of their look and everything. They kind of may make them give them a gimmick. I think that's since they kind of lost whatever loose association they had to Jada, they kind of didn't. They haven't really, I think one of them got hurt, and they just didn't really have anything to kind of build on at all. So that'll be a way, in my opinion, to get them on TV in most interesting ways. And I agree that was always a creative gimmick that I think has kind of been underutilized in general. Like make us like basically wrestling mercenaries, or
Yeah.
wrestling he like you said, hit men in a sense. So yeah, I like that. That actually can work. What I don't really care for overall is like getting not only a dark state main event, but like you said, it's not that I don't. It's not that I don't care where we're going with Tony D. It's just he went from doing the problem I got with Tony D is that we got one extreme from the other. Like we got a whole bunch of talk and no action, and now we just getting now we just get finishing move and no talk. It's like we can't get balance. We can't get any explanation of why or what we're seeing. Like, and then I'm gonna attack the heel and the baby face because I'm neither. Like everything about this just is just emotional. But then again, he's trying to show no emotion. It's like nothing. Like, what do you get from this other than, hey Tony, thanks a lot, or no thanks, whatever. And then the problem is to me is that since I don't really care about who win in this, or I don't care about this dark state injury feud, that to where it's like, well, when he did beat up both of them, I didn't feel anything about it. But then when he put him on the pin, I was like, oh, okay, so you are a good guy. So I don't know. I don't know. That was just weird, but I assume we going somewhere with this Tony stuff. So
Has anybody told him the title's vacant?
that's
I
what
know
I'm
he's
saying.
seen it, but he just doesn't seem interested in it in the moment, And it makes me wonder, are they trying to work out his accent? What's he going to, they're like, don't talk yet because we don't know if we want you
Right, we don't
Italian,
know.
American, or your normal accent. Or Tony D's real voice might be like, hi, I'm Tony D, and he just be like, look, guy, like, just, leave it. Right, before the
Oh,
last episode of NXT, we've got TNA on AMC January 15th. Such a big deal about this through TNA and
woo,
basically everybody else. The first bit I should say is Leon Slater was not there as WWE wanted him on the European tour. I
man, that pissed me
could
off.
I could not fucking believe. I was like, TNA, don't be. You always say to me with TNA, and I'm like, TNA, don't be a bitch. Don't be
Right.
a bitch and let him. You need your X Division champion. If I was TNA, I would have started this show off with an X Division triple threat and showed you what TNA can do. Do you know what I mean? But instead, it was just a clusterfuck. And I know things changed as well because the Rascals, who were scheduled on the show, went to AEW when their contracts expired like a week before. So we talk about NXT with the call ups, the TNA with the fuck ups.
I couldn't put it any better myself, man. It's just like have some backbone, bro. Like this is part of the politics that I talk about, and I just don't. At this point, how can you beat any of the allegations that any of the outsider or the Impact fan who did not like this whole partnership from the begin with? you can't beat any of those allegations when you can't even get your own champion booked for your biggest show. Like, yes, do I think the partnership is a big reason why they may have this TV deal with AMC? 100%. You know, I do think some of those joint shows, some of those, crowd gate increases and book, I mean, and ratings increases that were probably due to the partnership. Do I think a lot of that had to do with the relationship with WWE? 100%. But if we to the point now to where you can't even, have your main one of your main, it's not even just the main champion, because like forget the fact. I know you guys have a world title match, but like we know what like you mentioned, the X division has always been what made Impact kind of stand out and not feel like WWE like was the X division, and Leon Slater is a great example of that. He is supposed to be one of the bright faces, and I can say that I think we all know that he's WWE bound, and I can feel that way all I want. But you mean tell me you guys can't negotiate, or you can't find a way to tell them like, no, hell no, we got his contract. He's on, like, you know what I mean? But that's kind of what happened when you all under that same umbrella, because technically WWE got that contract. Technically, in their mind, I guess they can pull that card back. So if that's the case, then we got to stop calling it a partnership and just let's just come on out and say what it really is, that WWE own Impact. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, that was really deflating from the beginning that we weren't going to have him there, and then like you mentioned, starting the show the way we did and just this felt like a big deal. That kind of was an underlying theme, even as I watched the show, of just kind of feeling like, yeah, I don't know how I feel about this one.
Yeah. Well, don't worry. AJ Styles started the show and after much hype said a couple of words and fucked off. We then got the TNA World Tag Team Champions, the Hardys, and Elijah defeating Order 4, which is Mustafa Ali and the Great Hands. Santino Morella is still reeling after being betrayed by his daughter, Ariana Grace. For that reason, the board has appointed someone to help him, and that was the debuting Daria Ray, aka Sonya Deville, and she revealed Elena
Woo!
Black has signed, aka Cora Jade. I
Superstar,
did.
baby.
I, I just my issue with Deville, right? And I think it was the promo she gave was the fact of like, oh, I've been a general manager before on another pro, and it's like we TNA are such a poor relation to WWE. I can't. This just you know what I mean solidified it of like Sonya Deville showing up and being like, oh, I'm in charge now. I didn't mind Cora Jade because again, as we talked about, she hasn't really done much, I think, since leaving NXT. So hopefully this will be a nice chance for her.
Oh yeah, I mean, I just love how they just tried to make it seem like when she was Cora Jade, she didn't wrestle Impact. So they just Alita Black. Let's act like this is a brand new person that we just saw 5 months ago. That was the funniest part about it to me. But yeah, no, I do think potentially because we talked, like you mentioned, not only has she not done much since leaving, but I also think it's great, it's good in general because of where we feel like Impact is. I mean, in my opinion, Impact should be just trying to get their hands on any reputable women's talent in general because and not because they're just lacking, because I don't necessarily think it's all just Impact current women's roster is lacking. Some of it is that, but also some of it is utilization and just how much television time some of these other women, in my opinion, even get. Because I know it's plenty of women in my that I barely even see, on television. So that's kind of how I look at it. So yeah, I will say that at the end of the day, I think Elena has the potential to do good things, and that's cool. But I would be lying to you if I thought that this is how I open my show. My big television impact, my big television debut is the announcement of, yeah, we're gonna have Sonya Deville as an authority figure, obviously, which everybody loves authority figure television. That's just always great. Not to mention that we kind of already been like, I mean, what was Santino? I mean, what was, so we
Well,
got
he's
multiple
depressed.
authority
He's
figures.
depressed, yeah. So
Oh,
because
okay, I
he's
got
depressed,
because he's
yeah,
down. Now we
because
got
he's
okay,
like,
cool.
"Hi guys," you know, like.
Right, 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 right. All right, fair enough. Anyway, so again, all right, so that's the announcement. That's gonna move the needle. Not really. I could care less, but good to see her. I'm glad she's doing well. And as far as Atlanta goes, it's like, all right, I don't have a problem with that because, like I said, I do feel like it's a need there in their women's division. But I also believe that to I don't have a lot of confidence just based on what the booking that I'm used to when it comes to Impact Women Division anyway. So good luck, and I think she could do. She has the potential to do good things. But yeah, for my television debut, and again, outside of course having AJ open up the show, I thought that was awesome. But I don't know how you. Let's say it this way: if you was watching and you was just excited to see AJ, the way this show kind of started off, I'm like, some people might be turning off the television.
Yeah. Well, don't worry. I mean, you mentioned the knockout division. There's still the Elegance brand, which was Heather and M by Elegance with Mr. Elegance and Perez Hilton because we all needed him. They defeated the TNA
He's
Knockouts World
still
Tag Team
relevant.
Champions. The Inspiration, no. Cassie Lee and Jessie McKay. So we've got new tag team champions. It looks like the Inspiration are done again with Impact. Danny Luna will be unable to challenge TNA Knockouts World Champion Lee Ying Lee. So
Uh,
NXT's Zarya and Sol Ruka made their way to the ring, and Sol suggested that Zarya answer the open challenge. She signed your contract, and it's official. There you go. Um, also, TNA president, I couldn't believe they thought this was a good idea. They brought out former TNA president and owner Dixie Carter, and the fans booed her. I mean, what did they expect? What did she expect? Like, thank you, Charles. It's just, oh my. We're going to bring out Bischoff as well and talk about his his run with Hogan.
right. Oh yeah.
It's
Almost
Vince
ran the
Russo.
company into the ground, and
Yeah.
that's what we need to bring out here. Yeah. Oh, well, we'll be happy to
Oh,
see you. We barely
oh my
survived your era, but
God.
great to see
Thanks
you.
for nearly killing us. Yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ. The main event was Mike Santana beating Kaz for the TNA World title. But what was even more annoying is, or if they planned it, I don't understand, is the match finished and then they missed the angle afterwards, setting up the pay per view at the weekend. Now, first off, I couldn't believe there was a pay per view coming with no build up,
No deal.
basically, on the
Nothing.
show itself. It's like the opposite of that. But I mean, the thing is about it with the AMC and TNA, there was lots of shots of empty seats. They did that well. All right, like every
Yep.
every time they got to a crowd, it's like, oh,
They're trying
even
to
on that.
show off these celebrities that nobody fucking knows. It's like, stop showing the crowd. And why the hell is Candice Michelle here? Like, what the fuck are we doing?
Why is there a boxer sitting by himself? Like why is he there for? Only three matches and no X division. I mean, let's just hope the next episode is better on the next update. Because honestly, Monty, after this, I was like, I'm not watching the next tier. Like, I need a break. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh
Oh
man,
my
yeah,
word.
it was rough, man. Like I actually was looking forward to it. I tried to watch it live so I could help ratings, and it was tough. It was tough. It was tough to get through. It was just the funny thing is, it's like they used WWE's production crew or whatever, like that last quarter of the partnership to get the deal, and then as soon as the first show of the deal, they'll be like, "Hey, you on your own, and we're taking your X Division talent. Do your best, guys."
Oh God. It
It was
was,
just
yeah.
right back to like the lackluster TNA that, yeah, it wasn't pretty.
But the notes as well was like, well, production staff were happy because if you'd have known everything was going backstage, no, we don't. Like, at least, say something. Or is that just two of the small town organisation? Or it's not like you didn't have enough build up for the show. Do you know what I mean? It's like there's no excuses of people go, oh, what? It's on the 15th. I wasn't sure. And then they had Genesis a couple of days later, which was a pay per view. And I had to look and I go, there is no way they put a like charging pay per view price for this fucking shit show. Um, Stacks defended his title in a four-way featuring BDE, KG also, and Eric Young on the kickoff. That just shows you what everybody thinks of fucking Stacks. The TNA Knockouts World Champion Lee Ying Lee defeated Azaria with the Knockouts title on the line in a good match. Leon Slater couldn't be there, obviously, so they replaced him with Joe Hendry. And the triple threat versus Moose and Cedric Alexander. I mean, Joe won, so it's funny how times change. Really, once you're a WWE star, going
Now
back
you
to
can win.
TNA. Yeah. Yeah, but I was just the crowd respected Joe, but man, they were. Do you know what I mean? Like, wow. And again, the main event was like a death match between Kaz and Mike, which we'd seen on free TV a couple of days previously, basically.
Yeah.
It was awful. Yeah, so that's it. I'm not going to. No more TNA. Final NXT is January 20th. After a video package to hype the show, Ava was shown telling security to keep an eye out for Tony D'Angelo. The first match of the night, so Elio LeFleur or LeFleur. Every time I hear LeFleur, I think of dodgeball, and I really I shouldn't do it. But anyway, he made his NXT debut by challenging All Ego for the Men's North American Championship. The French luchador showed off his speed and agility early by taking Page down with a couple of unique moves. All Ego finally stopped him in his tracks with a backbreaker across the top turnbuckle, followed by a big boot to send him to the floor. And they made this a competitive fight that felt like it could go either way. All Ego was able to retain thanks to holding a handful of tights during a roll-up, but LaFleur did have him reeling. And Monty, the only thing I ask you is the only thing in France the Eiffel Tower. That because I'm just like that in America. Is it just the Eiffel Tower that is in France and nothing else?
That's probably the amount of the education system decided to teach us about. It's like, oh, you see this? Oh, yeah, that's Eiffel Tower.
Is
Yeah,
it when he made his entrance and I
they
was
they
like, wow,
might
he's got
touch
the
on if you went to a good school, they might sprinkle a little bit of the French Revolution. Other than that,
he had the cash at the
baguette, you know.
yeah, he had the clash at the castle fucking effects on him, didn't he? Do you know what I
Right.
mean? Just the
Right.
Eiffel Tower. But anyway, as for the
Yeah,
match,
no, it's just a French kiss. That's it. No, yeah, French fries. That's another thing America associate with France that I don't even know if that's supposed to be the case. Uh, yeah. I give LaFleur his props, man. At least this kind of goes back, and I know we're gonna talk about Eli, and I'm glad Eli, not LA, is on this match card too, because that's kind of goes back to what I was talking about when it came to him earlier. It's like if you're gonna give me a debut, man, give me more than a speed match. And this is why. It's because I felt like even though I feel like he got a lot, it's a lot more for us to learn about the Frenchman and a lot more to see him do. I do think not only did I think he showed something, he gave us something to be confident in with the quality of work he gave us in this match. I think his association and just putting him in the ring with Ethan Page in his debut kind of just boded well for how confident I felt like uh, management or NXT in general are in his skills, because we talk about it all the time at this point. NXT, especially now, my guy Obafemi is gone. We this might be the Ethan Page Glaze Fest show. Like every week, we might just be talking about, hey, we really like Ethan Page because he's gonna be the best thing on the show by far when he's wrestling. But yeah, I mean, so I do think it was cool to have him in there, have him debut against a guy of the skill level of Ethan Page, somebody that we respect, and have it be a title match. And I think he showcased himself pretty well. You know, he didn't do too much. We didn't get. I don't think they overexposed him or anything. He did just enough, in my opinion, to kind of have me interested in like where he could be in the future and like what he could possibly be later on. And I think that's about as much as you can ask for, if we being honest, when you got a guy debuting like that. And again, like I said, we didn't only know but so much about him, but I'm interested to see more.
yeah, without doubt. Page is the perfect opponent for a debuting star as well, isn't he? You know, and Ricky Saints made his entrance. He told All Ego, they are the glue keeping NXT together. right now. And as you just mentioned, that actually might be truer than we think. The Absolute One joined commentary for the next match between two flannel-loving men. Shiloh Hill taking on Josh Briggs in a qualifying match for the NXT Championship ladder match. Looks like Briggs was going to win with big chokeslam, but Hill kicked out at the last second. Newcomer was able to hit a net breaker to score the win. But as soon as the match was over, Tony D showed up and laid out both men. Well, Tony. The next match was a tag bout with Brad Baylor and Ricky Smokes. I hate learning new names. Taking on Uriah Connors and Kale Dixon. While not their first appearance, this was a Vanity Project's first official match since being officially signed to NXT. Of course, Chase U lost. But look, I know I'm old, but just how fucking young are the Vanity Project? You know, and I think it's that wearing trunks that makes it weirder. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I should be looking at such young men wearing trunks. It's a bit off-putting, you know? Is that just me?
You know, I'm not gonna say it's just you because I think that Brad guy is like born in the year 2004. So yeah,
Mm.
I mean, so
Oh,
I get exactly. I get the sentiment. So
oh.
I get what you kind of mean, but I just think that honestly, that's kind of where we are in life, man. Like we just old. We
What
getting
are you?
up there. The
It looks
people
so
that we
fucking young.
watching, yeah, man. The people that we
Oh,
watching now are fresh out of puberty, man. That's what we are, man. So yeah, it's tough. I think the other guy's a little older. I think the Ricky guy is like 20 mid 20s or something. But so yeah, it's interesting times we in. But they still, I get the sentiment. I really do get the sentiment. Uh, I'm not really looking at them in their trunk anyway. But I do think that we are in that era now to where you just don't even. I don't even want to look up how old Fallon Henley or some of these other people are. I don't want to see their age because you'll be surprised. But that's what we at, man. That's what
but
we at.
did they look that young? Like, did Randy
No,
Orton look young when? Do you know what I mean? Like, no, it
uh,
has. Maybe we're looking at it
no.
with
They
rose
didn't.
tinted glasses or something. Like,
Yeah,
but
maybe it's because we were younger. We didn't really
yeah,
look at
we
it the same way we look at it now. But yeah, I'm with you. I get what you mean. I get what you mean.
yeah.
And then of course it's different. Some people, especially when we were young, I look back at I saw this clip of like, and this might make you chuckle or it might offend you, but I looked at this video of them showing like high school kids of America in 1996. And I would have been like 1 years old. And I'm looking at some of them and they supposed to be like 16, 17. I'm like, that lady looks 30. So,
Yeah,
some of
yeah, no, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't
No,
know.
no,
I
yeah.
don't know,
Uh,
man.
No, I always felt that at school, like the people older than me look well old, and I was like, I even still feel that at some points. But then I look at these guys and go, no, I am old actually. It's
Yeah.
I feel young, but Anyway, after the match, Ava was shown backstage saying she called the cops on Tony D. Then when got Kiana Carver from LFG was forced to do a
Nick.
backstage interview. But he walked off before answering any questions. He also has a problem with Booker, which again, I don't know, man. Like, can you trust anybody that doesn't like Booker T? Uh,
Yeah. That don't give you bonus points with me, brother. like, yeah, like what you want, so I guess you want me to hate you too, huh, man? Nah.
Up next was Jada Parker comes in the ring, give a promo. She talked about returning from injury. Oh, so it was an injury, and needing to let her hard work speak for itself. She spoke with emotion and enthusiasm about wanting to prove her doubt was wrong while continuing to be true by herself. The lights dropped, and there was quite a little awkward moment before the Blake thing started. Before I thought it was like a technical issue or something like that. Blake Monroe did interrupt. They talked some trash to each other, but they didn't exactly resolve their conflict. Sean Legacy and Eli Knight have both officially moved over from Evolve to NXT and were thrown right into the fire with a qualifying match being the upcoming ladder match for the NXT title. That shows you where we are at this moment in time. When
Yep.
Sean Legacy and Eli Knight, both men hit some big spots from the top rope, They had the crowd chanting, "This is awesome." Knight went to the well one too many times, and Legacy took advantage of a twisting suplex for the pin and the win. Once again, Tony D showed up and took out both competitors once the match was over. Ava came out with some fake cops who had no badges, but Tony allowed himself to be handcuffed. Saints was back on commentary for this one. And again, does Tony D know that title? Just ask for a match. That's all you have to do, Tony.
Just
You
get the
know,
match.
get in the qualifying match. Like it's Eli Drake and Sean Legacy. You could have been in that match. Like you just ask.
Also, I want to know that how I need a counter, or can we do a drinking game of how many people have been arrested since Stone Cold got arrested back that very first time. Yeah, I promise you, it was only cool when Austin got arrested. I don't. Everybody else, like Tony D, you don't look cool getting arrested by unconvincing policemen for attacking guys.
This is the thing. And even in the Stone Cold case, when he was arrested or taken out of the arena, he'd returned in a vehicle an hour later. Do you know what
Right.
I mean?
It's always been ineffective. Like they don't hold anybody. Even I just thought about it just last year when they did Jacob Fatu. Like within an hour he was back. It's just like what the fuck are we doing? Why are we going to this trope? It obviously does nothing.
No, they just ruined it, didn't they? But yeah, interesting. And then the week's main event was a three-way tag match with Ren Sinclair and Kendall Gray versus Zaruka versus Fallon Henley and Lani Reed. The winners would earn a shot at TNA Knockout Tag Team Championship.
Everybody wants that.
Why the fuck was this the main event? Don't get me wrong, I don't mind, but why was this stipulation as a main event? Exactly when you think, oh, okay, we NXT haven't got a women's tag team title, I suppose. Ruka, Gray, and Reed started with exchange of pinning combinations, but no one can get the free count. Zarya tagged in, immediately clotheslined both opponents. JC Jane got involved and took out Gray at ringside. Zarya and Ruka were able to get the victory, but not without a little friction beyond the way. I mean, this wasn't bad, but again, are we going to be talking about on the next update? Do you know what I mean?
Nope. Nope. I doubt we will, sir. I don't know, man. I can't be too hard on it. Like you said, I thought this was cool. I'm with you. I stopped beating the drum that we should have never lost the damn women's tag team titles in NXT in the first place. But it is what it is. I think at this point it's pointless to bring that up consistently. The right team, I guess you can say, won because they're the only one that kind of have a narrative, to kind of paint a picture. As much as I don't think that they probably are going to win the belts anyway. But yeah, man, this is okay, and we'll see where this goes. I think I kind of said my piece when it comes to the will they, won't they of
Mm.
Zaruka, and we seem to be kind of pushing that car forward a little bit. So I guess I can take it easy in that regard. But yeah, it's still one of those things to where I'm like, all right, if at some point we will get what we're looking for when it comes out of this, and we'll just have to wait for it to happen. But they're getting closer and closer. It's all about how we're gonna get there, and I hope they don't. I wish they. It seemed like to me they telegraphing it a lot, and I just thought it would have been more effective if we did it out of nowhere, where it felt like the love was still there. I feel like now the turn is gonna be obvious,
Mm.
but I guess we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we'll see what happens. We'll leave it here. So the next update, not only will we fill the ladder spots, but also crown a new NXT champion. I just hope no one else shockingly
Make
leaves
it.
NXT. I can't take anymore.
Yeah.
um, so Monty, what are your thoughts on NXT? This update. I mean, the future is definitely evolving.
Great job right there.
Thanks. Thanks.
Good job.
Thanks.
I'm not. I don't know, man. I'm not the most optimistic about where we are right now. It's probably the most down on NXT I've been. I think I've kind of basically over the course of this. broken down kind of where I feel we've kind of been going wrong when it comes to NXT. Uh, I don't want to be overly negative, in my opinion, because I still see like a semblance of the NXT that we've kind of been enjoying, and I think it's still elements there, but we are more scattered than ever. And I don't want to go so hard because I feel like a lot of this is not necessarily just like I feel like I would be much more harsher on just bad booking or just inconsistent booking if I didn't know that we kind of got like this overlord of a thing coming on when we losing a chunk of our talent. But I'm not the most optimistic, man, and I hate the fact that you didn't do this on purpose. But like after the New Japan show, and then the way
Yeah,
I'm
I
talking,
know,
talking
man.
about this one, like it's just
Shit.
like I
We
bet
got
people are
the.
like, "Damn, man, Muncie don't like nothing right now."
I'm just glad the Rumble's good. Do you know what I mean? Otherwise,
Right?
next
Yeah,
week's
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
be.
Yeah, at least that one got some positives. Even though I do think I definitely can. We'll get there when we get there. But yeah, so I'm with you. At least my outlook on wrestling in general is in a better place than I felt like it was. But NXT is in a tough. We're in a tough spot, man. And it's really it's like I mention all the time. When you have a shakeup of talent like this, it's hard because we've seen 2.0. We saw that 2.0 era. We seen kind of like where they were trying to shed that, and then we seen some of the best work that they've kind of put together that wasn't black and gold in NXT, and we kind of been up and down kind of since then because of losing talent or because of like I said, inconsistent booking. Like when it comes to our men's division, we've been we've let Obafemi and Javon Evans, and I'm very fearful because I feel like they kind of filled a lot of those holes that's been in the men's division. Like whether we want to be honest about it or not, it's a reason, like you mentioned, it's a reason why Ethan Page don't fight the NXT men's division because it ain't really that many compelling people or talented enough people right now that I feel like they feel like can even give you that story with a guy like Ethan Page, and that's not a good sign. So as much as I love how much we lean on the women's division, and it's as positive as that is that we got some great women's division stories and some good potential there, we leaning on it because we have to. We don't have a tag division anymore. We don't have interesting male characters right now. We don't have an interesting male storyline right now. And I know we're in a transitional period. We're trying to find a champion. But even before Obafemi was doing his thing, we was using Impact and using other people to get Obafemi to have title defenses against. Trick Williams had the Impact title for a big bulk of 2025 to kind of carry some storytelling elements in the men's division. We are in trouble in that regard if we're talking about how I feel right now. Hopefully, in about 5, 6 months or whatever, I feel we seem to be in a better state, and I see the vision, and I see some talented guys like Sean Legacy and some other people who can possibly step up and be prominent, be given the spotlight and be deserving of it. But I felt like we've definitely seen better days in NXTs, especially in the men's division. And hopefully we don't have to continue to just lean on the women's division because they also have certain problems and issues and like not the most consistent or best decision making in my opinion too. So it's been clunky. We're gonna ride it out because that's what we do in NXT. We're gonna continue to get because it's ebbs and flows, and I think me and you, anybody know it's ebbs and flows in NXT is me and you. But yeah, right now this wasn't the best update, and hopefully when we come back and we talk about the next 4 to 5 weeks or whatever, we can see a clearer line. Especially since I would like Stand and Deliver to still be a strong show this year.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, even talk about stand and deliver, it seems miles off, and it's only a couple of months, and there doesn't seem to be anything there. And at least with 2.0, you still had someone like a Bron Breaker or
Right.
a
We knew
Carmelo Hayes.
Dragunov. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly. Yeah, Hayes, you could go right. Let's go for. I mean, it's not offense to Ethan Page and Ricky Saints, but they are in different stages of their career. Where the young guys, and this is why I don't understand Javon Evans at 21 not having another year in NXT, unless there's a plan for him. But it just seems like new toys at this moment. And again, overall in WWE, it's fine having, like you talk about, the minor leagues and bringing wrestlers up, but when there's no cuts, I mean, I know there's going to be after WrestleMania, but because there's none officially, do you know what I mean? And then the roster gets crowded. But yeah, it's a really interesting time for NXT at the moment. It's a really interesting time for a lot of wrestling promotions right now. You know, not only NXT, we talk about New Japan last week, and I think even with WWE at this moment in time, you know, it's really interesting. But I'm glad we could catch up. And like I said, we're in 2026 now, so we're basically there, and we will be done by stand and deliver. So that is it. Don't forget, we're across all social media, X at the WNR Podcast, I'm at the WNR Pod James. You can find the entire WNR team on the banner. Monty, where can people find and follow you?
At my Monty Pod, any updates on me and what I've been working on will be posted there first and foremost. I would get my blue sky thing, but I don't even feel like trying to figure out the name of it. I do post it occasionally there, but it is what it is. Just type in Mind and Money, like I said, on Twitter, and you will follow the show and follow me. And like I say, I got a lot more coming up. It's been a busy first little quarter for me, at least personally. But I do have ideas. I got a lot of stuff that I'm thinking about working on and reworking. So just follow me on Twitter and I'll keep you posted.
Perfect. The Dublin also Facebook and Instagram. Send us an email at dublinpodcast at gmail.com and YouTube at Dublin Podcast. We're celebrating nearly 11 years now with WNR with Schultz. The Universe mode will come back with 2K26. I don't know if I'm going to spend that amount of money on it yet. We'll see how it goes, you know. And clips from any event we go to. The podcast is live on YouTube and also on SoundCloud on your phone, and also Spotify and iTunes. We can download, subscribe, rate, and review there. So that is it. Our next episode next weekend will be the Royal Rumble. Wow, we'll see how that goes. But until then, I've been James Rowlands, and I was joined by the mind of Monty. Monty, thank you for joining me for another update. And I know we've hit it hard. I promise you a break after the Rumble, all right?
No problem. No problem.
Yeah. Well, until then, that is it. Thanks for listening, everybody, and bye.